Hello, this is Tim Nichols. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in your practice, and that's going to be choosing your EHR system. Aside from the location and perhaps some partners and employees and so forth, it's one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. And a few years ago, I went through the process myself, and I remember going into that with a number of what I consider to be deal breakers. I went to a big optical trade show, you will see the exhibits and everything, and I was on a search because I was dissatisfied with my current system, and I had to find a new system that was going to do several things for me. First of all, I wanted data conversion. So I had been on EHR systems for over 10 years. I had all of this patient information from encounters, and I wanted that in the record, not just a searchable PDF, but when I went to a slit lamp field, for example, I wanted to be able to look at visits from 10 years ago and in that field find my previous slit lamp findings. I wanted to be able to follow glaucoma and find the pressures in the field without having to jump out into different partner kinds of searchable PDFs or anything like that. The same had to be true of documents, patient demographics, letters to and from, and so forth. It all had to be in the records, and that was very important to me because having to work around some sort of alternative method was going to mean that it was just going to be too cumbersome to really use in practice. So I wanted to be able on my first day with my new software system to look back and see everything that I had done for the previous dozen years. That was deal breaker number one. Deal breaker number two was I didn't want software that was owned by a competitor. How can I put this nicely? The big integrated optical and insurance companies that also have software platforms are not your friends. They do not have your best interest in heart. They're answering to other investors, other things that are more important to them than you. And even worse than that, they've got your data. They've got everything about your patients. I did not want my patients getting marketing information from a competitor's retail outfit, whether it was online or brick and mortar. That's just not good business. If you think they're really looking out for you, I've got some Gulf front property in Kansas I'd really love to talk to you about. Please message me about it. But all kidding aside, I didn't want to deal with a competitor. And one of the things that was very important to me also is that I wanted to be able to extract from that information or from that software system information that I needed for my practice. We've talked in other videos about how important it is to be able to measure things and understand where you're going and where you've been in the practice. And robust reporting is very, very important to that. So that was a deal breaker. Matter of fact, the system that I chose, being able to integrate the edge into that system was very, very important. Another side of the reporting thing is the MIPS reporting. That was another deal breaker for me. You want a system that's certified, that's able to handle those reporting to the High-Tech Act and so forth that MIPS requires us to do. We're already giving away a portion of what our services are worth just for the privilege of filing Medicare or some other insurance. And right now, don't be confused that it's just going to be Medicare and that's it. No, I think pandemic may have stunted some things, but very, very soon you're going to see all the major insurers following suit with quality reporting, quality assurance, and it's going to happen through your certified EHR system. So you better be able to get that information out and get it in a form that the insurers will recognize, so that the reports can take place. And you want it to be able to um, be so easy. In other words, you want the system to be doing it for you in the background as you're just going through your daily process. You don't want it to be a big, heavy 2-day job like, unfortunately, my previous system had been. So, MIPS reporting, very, very important. I wanted this system also to be customizable to the way that I practice. My practice is heavy medical. We were in a rural community, so it's very important that you be able to make that software do what you want it to do. And another thing that was a nice feature that I was really looking for was being able to have Dr. A be able to do their thing and Dr. B be able to do their thing and Dr. C be able to do their thing. And just depending on who's logged in, it would be more or less customizable to each one of the doctors. So that's a really nice feature. So that was important to me. Also very important that when you customize something and there are updates that come along, it doesn't get erased. So you wanted to be able to put the work in, have it customized to the way that you do practice, and stay there. And that was a deal breaker. I knew of folks that had software that unfortunately that was not the case. So I wanted it also to be a company that I could talk to. You know, there's a sweet spot, I think, when you're dealing with business partners on anything, whether it be laboratories or frame manufacturers or whatever, where one that is too big, you become too small. One that's too small can't really do everything. They don't have the horsepower that they really need to be able to do what needs to be done to keep up. But there's a right spot, a right size of company in which you know the people know you, you are a customer, and you are a partner of theirs. So that's something that I wanted, a relationship with a company, not just a business relationship, but one in which they knew me and I knew them, so that we could have very open and clear lines of communication. Well, a lot of other considerations kind of peripheral to that. Those are the main ones. Some of the other considerations I think are support, quality support. And when you have a problem in the practice, you need an answer right then. You know, the place is burning down and you've got to figure out what to do right then. There are people stacked up waiting, and you don't have time to go into an email queue. You don't have time to find the designated person that is the only one that's supposed to be communicating with the support team. You want the employee who's having the problem empowered to get an answer on the phone right then. That was important. And fortunately, I found that. I wanted cloud-based security. Now, I was server-based, and there's advantages to servers and clouds and so forth, and maybe that's a discussion for another time. Servers are nice because they're fast, but all of that backup, all of that security, all of that falls on you. And if you are an IT genius, go for it. If you're not an IT genius, it's better to have somebody that is, really. And that's the advantage, I think, of cloud-based systems. I've known of practices in which, they would do the little tape backup and have it in there every night. And when their system crashed, they plugged their tapes in and the tapes were blank. They thought they were recording, and they had been religiously doing them out, changing them every day, taking them home and being secure and all of that. Fortunately, when it's cloud-based, You're dealing with someone who is an IT professional who will be backing up your data for you. I wanted a company that also would do the things that I, as the doctor, knew were important but really didn't know about. Now, doctors, let's be real. We live with our little blinders on. We're in the exam room. When we talk about an electronic medical record, we're only talking about the part we see. That's the only thing we really care about. We want to know how our refraction findings get in there, and what's the ophthalmoscopy look like, and can I draw little pictures and of my BIO findings or whatever. So we get really keyed in on that. And the rest of the people in the office that don't live in that world have to live with whatever decision we make. Now, think about that. So you want a system that's not only going to please you as the doctor, but it needs to please everybody else that's operating the business of the practice. So you want it to be easy when they get in and out of a credit card processor, for example. Or if they're verifying insurance, or how does it interface with a clearinghouse, and what kind of appointment is it able to easily integrate partner software that's going to do things like communicate with your patients via email or text or whatever and send reminders? Is it going to be able to easily interface with those folks? So that's an important consideration when you're looking for a software, because it's going to make not just your life easy as the doctor, but everybody else in the practice as well. And as a part of that also, when you're talking about integration, for me, diagnostic images, that was important. I wanted to be able to store my images in the EHR and not have them standing alone in the fundus camera, stand alone in the OCT, or have to print out something out of the visual field machine and then scan it into the record and all. No, I wanted it all to just dump in there without any mess and fuss. It needed to be seamless, and that was important to find. And finally, what was the training and the onboarding process going to look like? You know, were you going to have a dedicated trainer, or would they just point you to a library of videos and say, watch these and you'll figure out everything that you need to know? No, you need somebody that's going to be doing some careful hand-holding all through that process of onboarding the office and helping you prepare to go live, and then walking with you as you go live. Preferably somebody that has understanding of what offices need, and someone that's done it before. So these were some of the things that I was looking for. Now, this is part one. So in part two, I'm going to tell you about then, after finding and choosing my software system, then going live with it, and my experience with what you need to do as the doctor to prepare to go live with the new software system. See you in part two.